This episode is brought to you by my new book, Ivalice Volume 1, a graphic novel of epic proportions now available on Amazon Kindle. Hello everyone, this is Marlyonama, and it's that time of year again, time for Squaretember. Well, as you'd all expect, my next game to cover would be Final Fantasy 12. Now, I can go into the long development cycle and the several delays that would actually hit a series record only to be surpassed by Final Fantasy 15 in terms of the length of development cycle. Now, its backstory is as interesting as its development cycle. That's because Final Fantasy 12 sub-series called the Ivalice Alliance that really began of a spin-off game called Final Fantasy Tactics. And it was played a lot differently than your typical turn-based RPG. It was semi-real-time strategy game that involved moving your players among coordinates and using different attacks, which was a lot more complex and a lot longer than most people were used to. In fact, a lot of people, including myself, never really completed it. A typical playtime would consist of typically 100 to 200 hours. But does that mean it was fun? Well, to some, yes. For me especially, because I myself am also a big fan of strategy games. Originally released in 1998 for the PlayStation 1, it was soon remade and re-released on the PlayStation Portable under the War of the Lions. And this one actually includes fully voice-acted full-motion videos.
Think, Ramza. This was Duke Larg's plan, and he would not act without counsel of the Queen. You cannot trust the crown. Would you then turn to Goltana? No, that would be folly. He would only offer up your heads in hopes of keeping his own.
And what so would you propose to do?
Subtitled Alliance War happens to refer to the 50 Years' War that happened before the start of the game. The two main characters of the story, Ramza and Deleta, are from two clans of noblemen who serve and protect the king of Ivalice. Both are involved in a plot to protect Princess Ophelia from the invasion from the Northern Sky Knights intending to take over Ivalice. But little did fans know that the new Final Fantasy was actually going to serve as sort of a prequel taking place around 500 years before the events in Tactics. What was a surprise to many of us used to the traditional turn-based system, that 12 began adopting a new real-time approach similar to that in Final Fantasy 11 and of course its predecessor Tactics, minus the job class system. Now, to give my personal opinion, even though it looked a lot really good for the time and the voice acting had improved dramatically.
When something big comes along.
Hey, it's good practice for the desert. I'm ready for anything now.
Sir, you haven't paid, and What? Haven't paid? On second thought, please, sir, take it. It's a gift.
But gameplay and story-wise, personally, I hated it. Now, does this mean it's a bad game? No. But it was just the gameplay that the battle system, of course, was very complex because the engine that they were using, I don't think really worked with real-time strategy games. It was more suited towards turn-based system, and when combining that with real-time MMO type system, it kind of makes a lot of mess and the Gambit system was obviously pretty broken because I don't really think had very good companion AI at the time. Now, I know you can actually change party leaders and characters you were controlling at the time on the fly which is very convenient. If your party leader died, you can actually change leaders and revive that character. Something a lot of people would criticize with Final Fantasy 13, but that's a rant for another video. Now, I really liked the setting and the scenery was beautiful, but the level design, good God, it was so open it was very easy to get lost. And thankfully, they omitted the random encounters, which was also very convenient for a very large map they had there. Fair, I am not a real fan on the random encounters. Now, story-wise, it's a love or hate situation. It basically involves the kingdom of Dalmasca being overtaken by the empire of Nebradia, and the dethroned Princess Osh has to reclaim her throne with the help of the main character, Vaughn. Now, this is where I have the criticism for on who the main character is. In my opinion, it should have really been Princess Osh. It should.
Yeah, but he's
a traitor, I know. Stay here and fight if you want.
Now, ever since Final Fantasy X, they pretty much gave them the protagonists to the wrong characters. I mean, in this game, it's clearly Osh who's trying to reclaim her kingdom and avenge her husband's death, and her interest in Balthier the Sky Pirate. Now, about the protagonist Vaughn, well, he actually had an older brother who was killed during battle. I mean, why did they need to pick this guy for the main character? He should have just been a supporting character, because all he really is just had a brother child soldier who was killed in battle and is a homeless orphan dreaming of becoming a sky pirate.
One of these days, I'll fly an airship of my own. I'll be a sky pirate, free to go where I will.
What importance does he have to the main story? It's like telling the whole story of Final Fantasy VII from Barrett's perspective. Now imagine how messed up that would sound. I mean, the protagonist should really be the character the game centers around the most. And hopefully, Square Enix cleaned up their act with this flaw, but not before getting into other flaws, and that's another topic for another video. So stay tuned for next time. Thanks for watching. I really hope you liked this video. If you want to check out more from Marlyonama, please hit the subscribe button below, or go to my website at www.marlyomedia.com. And if you really like the content, be sure to support me on Patreon or follow me on Twitch TV. And as always, sign on.